Hola a todos. Hi everyone. This is Carla Rodriguez, your coach and trainer of NLP and host of this Metafit Metamind podcast. This is a place where we leaders, coaches, entrepreneurs, and influence normalize the conversations between both physical and mental health. This is a place where we'll raise our voice and share your story. As your coach, I'm here to guide you to let go of all your limiting chains behind, and I'm on this mission to create expansion and awareness in your life. You can follow us on Instagram at Metafit Metamind Podcast, on my own personal Instagram, Coach Carlita, or here on YouTube. So make sure you subscribe. Please make sure to rate and review on Apple Podcasts or whatever you listen to your favorite podcast. So there's many things that have been going on. It's been a while since I last shared my last podcast episode, and I decided to take a pause on a lot of the things that I was doing. It was starting to be very hectic, and now I'm back. So, as far as updates, I don't have too many, but just be prepared that you're going to start to hear a lot of podcasts and Metafit Metamind Academy updates. Also, I'm sorry if you hear my dogs in the background. There's the neighborhood's dogs, and get them to quiet down. They're puppies. I got two Dobermans, in case I haven't shared that. They are 6 months old at this point when I'm recording this video. So I don't have a lot of updates. This episode that you are going to be listening or watching today has been one that I've had since I want to say the end of July, and things in life kind of got busy. But I've been wanting to share this story. I've been wanting to share this powerful episode with Justin Weider. He's someone that coached me a while back to improve on my sales, to improve on my belief about sales, and he's a business performance coach. He's someone who honestly helps people in so many amazing ways, and he's helping his clients add another 15 to 25K a month without paid ads. So Justin is someone who I really respect. He's very down to earth, yet very powerful in how he moves on in his life. I know he's supposed to be having a podcast at some point, so I'm still watching out for that. So I just want to say, listen to this episode. It's a powerful one. I had a lot of fun, and enjoy the episode. Thank you so much, everyone, for being on here on Metafit Metamind podcast. I'm really excited because in this episode, it's been a while, but I have someone really special, Justin Weider, who coached me actually like a year and a half ago. And he's someone who I think is very special in the way that he not only is great at selling, but great at connecting with people, great at like doing all these amazing things. And, I think we disconnected for a while after I left that program, and just a lot of things, but thank you so much for being here, Justin.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I came across your invitation on Threads, believe it or
Yeah.
not.
Threads.
And I'm like, yeah, okay, cool. Threads.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been a wild ride, but and I'm glad to see that you're still at it, because I
Mhm.
think that what you offer people is super valuable, and you have a very unique spin and story around it.
Yeah.
So I'm glad to see you're still coaching.
Thank you. And you too. And before we got on this call, you're like, hey, I'm gonna sales call. I'm gonna be a little bit probably late. And I'm like, cool, go get that sale, right? But before we get into how you've gotten to like being this expert in this is everyone's favorite question, I know, is who is Justin?
Yeah, that's a question that I really didn't know
Hmm.
the answer to for a very long time. That's probably a story for a whole different podcast. But really, who I am, I'm a guy. I'm married. I have a wife. We don't have any kids. We have a couple pets, but really, I'm somebody who has been through a lot in life, um, and I've decided to take that pain and turn it into purpose by um, not really by helping other people just yet, by helping myself, right? And so I'm somebody who's been through a lot of ups and downs in life, that has now started a company around helping business owners, and I've gotten really honed in on what I'm good at and what I can offer the market. That's something I never had before. It's funny, it's not in sales. I'm not a sales guy. I'm a
You're so
nerd.
good at
I am
it.
pretty good at it. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
I know, right? Like, I hate doing it though. I hate doing it in the corporate sense. The
Okay.
corporate world ruins sales, in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, Sales should be easy. It should
Hmm.
be aligned or not aligned,
Yeah.
right? But it's not that easy.
Mm.
Um, because people make irrational decisions.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
how, you said you turned that pain into the purpose, into this like thing for you to help other people. So what is that thing, that journey that got you from that point to the purposeful Justin that you are now?
Oh, sure. There's been a few major turning points. I'll focus on, let's see, shoot, that was 11 years ago now. Okay, so when I was 25, um, I had a roommate. He was kind of like my mentor in life. Like,
Mm,
I didn't have a ton of positive male role models. My mom was a single mom
mhm.
and she worked all the time. Obviously, you have to.
Yeah.
Um, and this guy, had an apartment with him, and we were very close. He was my best friend's cousin. I looked up to him. He's 4 years older than me. His name was Ricky.
Mm,
And I looked up to him. I took his advice on everything in life, like from how to dress to how to talk to girls to what job to take to everything.
mhm.
He was like my very first mentor.
Yeah.
We all looked up to him. My whole friend group did. And anyway, and so he unfortunately developed a heroin habit, and we didn't end up getting an apartment together because I thought that I could like help him,
Yeah.
right? Because I had beaten a opioid addiction like maybe a year before that on my own.
Gotcha.
So I thought I could help him, right? Which is like
Mhm.
the first sign of codependency. I didn't know that. Anyway,
Because
so
he was your mentor.
yeah, right. And I
Yeah.
wanted to, and I thought I could. It's like just a typical toxic mind pattern. I didn't think I couldn't do it. I didn't think it would be unhealthy for me. I didn't know any of
Yeah.
that, right?
Yeah.
So it turned out to be a shitty situation where he stole from me and took off. Um,
Yeah.
and so I had to move back in with my mom after that.
Mhm.
And that was really embarrassing. My mom was charging me rent. I was working at Best Buy.
Okay. This was
You
in your
know, and
20s, right?
yeah, my 20s, I was 25.
Uh-huh.
And prior to this, I worked at a software company, a big software company, Intuit, if you know Intuit, right?
Yeah.
Like I worked at Intuit before this. Now I worked at Best Buy.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And I lived literally in my mom's basement in a little 7x9 room. I'm going to cough again. Excuse me. And it was a low point in my life. I remember going to get the suit I interviewed for, because I'd actually lost a lot of weight in this time.
Mhm.
And I went to get the suit that I interviewed at Best Buy in, actually, at Goodwill. And
Mm,
there was a book by Grant Cardone, and I really didn't know Grant Cardone at the time. The book was Sell or Be Sold.
okay.
And I picked it up and I brought it home and I started reading it. And there's a line in there that's like, life doesn't happen to you, life happens because of you.
Ooh, okay.
Dude, Carlo, I got so mad at that book, dude. Like, if you watch
Uh,
Friends, I was a Friends fan. So what I did is I
yeah.
folded the book up, I took
Uh-huh.
it and I put it in the freezer,
Uh-huh.
and I didn't look at it again. I was so mad at that statement
You're like, how
because
dare you tell me
how
this?
dare you? I was so attacked, dude. Like, he called
Yeah.
me out. Because I didn't want to take any responsibility for life up to that
Hmm.
point. Everything was everybody else's fault, right? But that leaves
Yeah.
you pretty powerless. I know
Yeah.
now.
I mean, it all happened. You went back home. It's everybody's fault, yeah?
Yeah, it's everybody's fault. Exactly. Like if my roommate hadn't taken off of my money,
Mm-hmm.
right? If Intuit hadn't let me go,
Yeah.
if, right? Like
Right.
ifs for days. I could have ifs all day. Um, but I ruminated on that, right? I'm a ruminator. So I ruminated on that, and it started to become more clear to me
Mm-hmm.
how, yeah, dude, like I didn't have to move in with Ricky. That was a
Mm-hmm.
choice,
Yeah.
right? How, yeah, dude, I didn't have to tell him where my money was, and like we would we wouldn't play poker, and we
Mm-hmm.
would kind of cheat in poker by like
Okay.
communicating. I know, right? Like we don't have to get into it, but like that's the scummy stuff that I
Yeah.
did that I was trying to ignore and act like was not part of the problem, but was
It
part of the
was
problem. So that was
cool.
the first point. It was cool. Yeah, it was so,
Hey,
well,
I
whatever.
mean, y'all are good
Had to do
friends. You
that.
gotta back each other up, you got
Right.
your, what is it? Y'all are boys or whatever.
You have bro code,
Yeah,
right?
there we go.
Yeah. And so it was not even that, it was just about even to myself. So that,
Yeah.
taking that in and like starting to see those situations over the next
Mm-hmm.
couple of weeks really changed it for me. And I decided, okay, what does taking responsibility for my life really look like?
Mm-hmm.
And that is when I started trying to improve and trying to start to really know myself. I didn't know who I was back then.
Yeah.
I was whoever I needed to be in any given moment to
Yeah.
survive, I thought, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so how long did that book stay at Frozen? I'm curious about that book right
Probably
now.
like 2 or 3 weeks before I opened it
Yeah.
back up again. Yeah, and
Yeah.
finished it.
So let's talk that responsibility, right? You had to like really go in. I mean, 25-year-olds, I don't think I knew who I was until like
Hmm.
27 or figuring that out even, and so really like how is it that, that book got you, furious probably. You're like, "How dare
I was
you
so mad.
tell me that it's because of me?" And then you having to ruminate on that. Like, what did you do after that rumination? Like, did you stay like were you still at Best Buy and kind of exploring different things? Did you leave Best Buy? Like, what was like going on not only internally but externally as you were moving out of that, what would I say?
Yeah.
That victim, I don't know if I would call it victimized
It was a
space or
victim,
the
total victim mentality. Yeah, it
uh-huh.
was definitely victim mentality. Oh, everything happens to me, and I
Yeah.
can't control it at all. Like there
Yeah.
are victims, right?
Mhm.
But in my opinion, you can be a victim, you can be victimized,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, did he taking my money victimize me? Sure. Did I have to be
Mhm.
a victim about it? No,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? And I was being a victim about it.
So what
So
like
your
what did you tell
question,
yourself finally?
dude, honestly, it was the gym. I gotta say, that's
Really?
kind of why. Yeah, it goes into your thing about like the connection between physical and mental health. Um, at the time, I knew there was one thing I could do that I could control, and that was my diet and my exercise.
Yeah.
Right? I can't get at the time. I even before that when I had to adopt this mindset was even
Mhm.
before I started taking responsibility for things, but it started making more
Gotcha.
sense why I was so attracted to it. Right?
Mhm.
And that means shit. That was the fittest I'd ever been actually because I was so mad. I channeled that into working
Yeah.
out. Dude, like I
Physically.
was eating chicken and spaghetti squash every fucking day. Like, I mean, seriously, dude,
I
I
mean,
was
let's build a
lean.
habit.
Right? And exactly. Like my meal prep was insane when me and Megan first started dating back then. She
Uh-huh.
was like, "You have this shit down to a science." I'm like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
Partly because I was poor, I didn't have a choice. So like I had to
Okay.
math it out and make it
Mhm.
last, right? So that was
Mhm.
one piece. But the other piece was like I that in my mind, I thought, dude, if you can come out of being fat
Yeah.
and unhealthy, like then you can master sales, you can master whatever the fuck you want, my
Mhm.
leadership, anything you want. If you can just
Yes.
do this, I told myself that, right?
Mhm.
And that motivated me to get in there a lot,
Yeah. Yeah. Little by little, right?
little by little. Yeah. So, um, I lost a lot of weight. I got my mind right, and I started just reading self development stuff,
Mhm.
and I started trying to better my position. Right, like I eventually got a job, whereas Best Buy you don't make commission, right?
Yeah.
And I think I had applied for a few different management positions at Best Buy and gotten turned down.
Okay.
So eventually I left. I went to a place where you
Fine.
do make
F
commission.
Best Buy.
And I'm
Okay.
like, peace out, Best Buy.
Yeah.
Yeah. You guys don't want to promote me? That's
Mhm.
cool. I don't need to work here.
Mhm.
Um, and through that connection, I then got to a job in finance and auto finance
Mm. Okay.
where I continued working on myself. And dude, it's a long road
Yeah.
because, like you say, you know yourself till you're 27, so I'm 35. I didn't know myself, and I'm 36. Sorry, I didn't know
I'm
myself till
32
I was
now.
35.
So,
Yeah, like the real knowing of who I am, in
mhm.
my opinion, has just begun for me. This was the light that began it. The real, like, hey, this is Justin, I believe has
Mhm.
just started to come out in the past 12 months of my life.
I feel like I've seen some of your posts and what you've been sharing. I'm like, "Oh, that's cool." Like really coming from a space of like we mentioned it earlier, alignment, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, "Oh, that's cool." And I've seen your shares about going back to the gym and how that's been kind of that journey and adventure. And I find it's interesting that a lot of people don't really understand the mindset part until you sometimes we do have to start in the physical work, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I was a fat kid and I even now I'm gaining weight, but pregnancy, so that's my excuse
Pregnancy.
for now.
Yeah, that counts. That counts.
um,
Yeah. You
but
feed that baby.
oh yeah, baby's fault. So,
Good.
it's
Yep.
like first time I got to the gym, I was like, I'm never going back. And like a couple weeks later, because my cousin, the way that I went back was my cousin took me to CrossFit gym and I was like, I hate this. And then
Mm.
you end up loving it because then you start to learn about yourself, right? Like what you are
Mm-hmm.
capable of. If I can lift, I don't know, 200 pounds of a squat or whatever, like what's to say that I can't do 205 and maybe 205.5, right? Even like those little things I think are
Yeah.
so important and you challenging yourself on how like little bit by little bit you can push yourself to the next thing.
Mm-hmm. It's
So,
about belief. That
mm-hmm,
was the thing. Because, dude, my whole problem with life, this is my challenge to overcome in
mm-hmm.
this life, is self-belief, right?
Okay. This
I
is
need to
why we
have,
connect.
right? Right. I get it. Because that's the thing holding me back. If I just believe, I had to ask myself one time, I was
Mm-hmm,
talking to this business owner. I was like, what's the difference between this person that does 6 figures a month and me? This person believes they can,
mm-hmm.
right? Period.
Yeah.
They've done it before, so they believe they can.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's real easy that way, right? But they had to be at a point where they didn't know if they could, and they had to believe anyway.
Yeah.
And I think I take that away from like a lot of biographies, Steve Jobs and Bill Gates and Phil Knight. These guys believed in themselves no matter what, like
Mm-hmm.
psychotically. And
Yeah.
I aspire to that level of self-belief.
Yeah. Some people say it's even what is it called? Some people call me dreamer, or there's another word that I've been told. Oh, delusion, right? Like we gotta
Delusion,
delude.
yeah.
And like, yes, I think there's a gray area there, but like it's like this belief. And I think that's what's also great about you, that like even if you're maybe now just finally knowing who Justin is, the fact that you believe in you knowing that you know, or you're figuring out who Justin is, I think is great, because you said you're 35, 36. Like
Mhm.
what's the rule, behind knowing when we should know who we are?
Man, I think it's a never-ending journey
Mm-hmm.
that begins the moment you're born, right? You
Yeah.
spend half your life trying to be like everybody else,
Mm-hmm.
and then you decide, at least I decided, man, I really can't be like everybody else. I have to find a way to be uniquely who I am.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like, well, who am I? Dude, I was doing ketamine therapy 4 years
Oh,
ago now.
that's
Okay.
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. I had some PTSD stuff when I came back from a
Mm-hmm.
toxic job situation. So anyway,
Mm-hmm.
I was doing that, and the guy asked me, the guy, the counselor, the
That guy.
guide, yeah, that guy, the guide. That's what I said. No, I'm just kidding. He
Mm-hmm.
asked me, "Who are you?" And I couldn't
Yeah.
answer it in that moment,
Yeah.
even on ketamine.
Yeah.
I answered it with some very artistic ketamine BS, but like it wasn't real. I didn't know.
Yeah.
You know, I had a friend
Yeah.
tell me, "Dude, you look different." I'm like, "Yeah, this is me." It just came out of my mouth. I didn't think about it. I
Whoa.
wasn't fronting. It wasn't like a
Yeah.
planned. It was just, yeah, this is me. He's like, "Yeah, man, that's awesome. I can see that."
That's
It's like
cool.
dope,
Yeah.
right?
It's so cool that you don't always like you go through these changes, I think, or the processes, and then one day it's just like it just clicks.
Yeah, yeah. For me too, is about discovering, or doing my best to discover what I'm here to do, and like
Mm-hmm.
what themes in my life are repeating and for and why. So like, I don't know if
Mm-hmm.
you've ever done anything with human design. Have you looked into
A
human
little
design
bit.
at all?
Yeah, I'm a
Okay.
Manny Gen.
Oh,
That's all I
perfect.
know
That
right
makes
now.
sense.
You're
Yeah. Okay.
like, I know you know,
Yeah.
Carla.
No. Yeah. Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
I figured you would know.
Mm-hmm.
That's perfect. So, I'm a projector, right? So
Oh,
my energy functions weirdly,
yeah.
and it's interesting because I always wish the world functioned the way my energy does, but it doesn't, and that's like
Mm-hmm.
a thing for projectors. Anyway, that helped me know, like, when you feel something,
Yeah.
I went through my whole life feeling life should be one way, but knowing it just wasn't, and
Mm-hmm.
that's life, right? But then when
Yeah.
you read something that describes exactly this and puts words to it, it was such a
Mm-hmm.
weird experience, because it's like, that's me, but I couldn't have articulated that before.
You're like, I've always known this, and
Yeah.
now here's the word to match this.
Right. I've always
Mm-hmm.
known that I need to follow the flow of my energy, and that I
Mm-hmm.
don't always have the same, like you always have available energy for, especially for something you really want to do.
Yeah.
My wife doesn't get it. I can want to do something and
Mm-hmm.
not have the energy for it. I
Yeah.
can borrow yours though. And
Yeah.
that's pretty cool technique,
And
right?
I'm open to give, and I'm one to be okay with giving the energy.
Yeah, exactly. Because
Yeah.
that's the manifesting generator's superpower, right?
Mm-hmm.
They provide that life force energy.
Yeah.
Um, and it's just so interesting because I've never been able to understand that kind of thing, like horoscopes and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I get it, but I've never really understood. But when you talk about human design and the vibrations and the way
Mm-hmm.
that the energy centers work, it just clicked in my brain like so perfectly, like you were talking about earlier. Just
Mm-hmm.
like, this makes sense.
Yeah.
This is the mechanics of the stuff that we can't see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's really cool that you're also using human design to probably be functioning now in your purpose, you know?
Yeah, hopefully.
And that's something that I've gotten in trouble, I want to say, in the last couple of years that I learned about human design was,
Mhm.
I was told, Carla, you're not supposed to compete. Like, that's not in your human design. And you're over here
Hmm.
trying to be competitive, even with yourself, but also within your environment, like just your close people. And that's not how you function the best, right? And so once I let that go, dude, like, and I said, you know what? I'm just gonna kind of like what you said. I have to go with flow. It has to work with me. If I feel it, great. If I don't feel it, it won't work for me. And
Mhm.
so that's kind of how I've led this year, right? With Metafit has been, you know what? If it flows, great. If it feels like it's a challenge, if it's a competition, not with somebody else, but even just the process, then it's just gonna probably burn down again and you have to kind of start over. So it's really interesting when you start to learn your design and how, like, I think a lot of people should, like, or everyone should look into their human design. I had someone actually in a couple episodes ago who's a human design expert,
Oh,
and she's
cool.
talking about,
Cool
she
to listen
talked
to.
about her journey in getting into human design and how she has been using that, right, to follow her path, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think it's just a cool topic to just like have another episode about.
It's so deep, dude. Yeah, like I'm an armchair human design person, but we could pull up your chart and like another
Yeah,
episode and I can
yeah,
go through it with you, tell you what
let's
I
do
know at
it.
least. Yeah, I'm such a
Yeah.
nerd.
Or whenever you start your podcast, because I saw that
Mm.
you're gonna start one.
Yep. It's live, so you can if you want to be on it,
Oh, cool.
you're more than
Yeah.
invited.
So, okay, so let's talk about that. Like, going into this, right? Talking about the physical, the mental part, and how that's correlated in your life, and what, how that's played out in your life. So now, like, with all of that, finding your balance, whatever that means in Justin,
Mm.
like, what is it that you're excited about? Things coming up for you, things that you want to share with us?
Yeah. Man, I've never been this excited about business ever. Um,
Yay.
so yeah, right. So when you and I met, I
Mm-hmm.
was doing sales coaching,
Yeah.
which look, I'm a okay, if this is the scale of sales ability, okay, it's a small scale, but if it's a
Mm-hmm.
scale of sales ability, and this hand is like the top of the top, and this hand is like the worst salespeople ever,
Yeah.
I'd probably be like in the middle, toward
Ooh.
more toward the better.
Uh-huh.
Right. I understand it. And it's funny
Yeah.
because I can kind of paint a picture of knowing what I'm doing
Yeah.
because I understand it very well. But when the rubber hits the road, I don't have the track record. So I kind of always felt
Oh.
like a fraud
Mhm.
because in my mind, I'm going, no, I know I can help you though, because I
Mhm.
know the mechanics of it. I don't need to have done it.
Yeah.
That's a projector thing, right? But I didn't have
Yeah.
words for that. And I still felt like I didn't enjoy it as much, right?
Mhm.
So then I completely got out of that and threw that away. Like, all right, I close that business down. I'm not going to do this out of alignment, right? It doesn't
Mhm.
flow easily. I'm
Yeah.
not excited to work on it. I feel icky. I felt icky the
Mhm.
whole time. My heart pounded out of my chest, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's weird to talk about that now.
It's
And
just an
so
experience. It's all good.
it is, right? Yeah. Um, and so what I found now, though, through the help of another mentor,
Mhm.
is what I am really good at. Okay, so I joined a friend referred me to a guy a couple years ago, changed my life completely. I
Uh-huh.
joined his coaching biz, right?
Yeah.
Jesse.
Oh, yeah.
And inside of his business, while I was working in sales, just because I wanted to, just I didn't ask him for this. He didn't ask me to do this. It's actually funny.
Mhm.
A lot of learnings around that.
Yeah.
But I built out a full automation and like so basically if a customer falls off at any point in his funnel, they have full automation to recover and follow up with those people.
Oh,
And then
okay.
anybody else that he gets 1 to 2 emails every single day without him having to do anything.
Yeah. Oh,
And
that's
so,
amazing.
right? Yeah, I set
Yeah.
that up because I'm like, well, if I'm the sales guy, I'm going to follow up. I want to follow up automated,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
This is what I was thinking. And because I also I wanted to just tinker with it. I just wanted to, right?
Yeah.
Um, I look at it now, he asked me, hey, dude, there's some things that are broken that you built. Can you fix it? I'm like, totally. So we jump in there and
Yeah.
I'm looking at it and I start looking at the numbers. Well, we looked at it, of course, with his permission, we looked at them
Yeah.
together
Yes.
and I'm like, dude, you probably got like, and I can't say, oh, this system definitely produced this deal. He might have gotten these deals anyway. And that's what we
Yeah.
said. But they were tags on that automations they're from deals that like he got, I'm sorry, that added up to 180K over the
Wow.
year.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at that. Right. And so what we did is we took that and we're like, all right, let's turn that into an offer, because he's doing about 6 figures a month. And if he's missing those opportunities that we recovered with that system, other business owners have to too.
Yeah.
Right. And it's very valuable. All of a sudden, boom, I'm like super excited about business, because my offer before that for this new venture wasn't so hot. It didn't hit right. Now I can say to somebody, hey man, I can help you recover 15 to 50K a month in revenue without you spending additional money in marketing. You're gonna have to pay me to set it all up and pay the monthly to maintain the software, but it won't be marketing dollars you're spending.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Right.
You've already kind of done it too.
And I've already done it. Exactly. That was the other thing, Carla, is like in my mind, it was hard for me to sell an offer I'd never done before. This I did on accident. And it's
Isn't that
perfect.
something
And I
about
have proof.
scientists who like by accident figure things
So
out?
many. It's an unsettling. I listen to this stuff all the time on YouTube as I go to sleep. It's an unsettling amount of times we've discovered things on accident.
Yeah.
Big things that you would think, wow, we're really smart. No, we're lucky. God is involved. God is saying, you idiots, here, this is how this works.
Let me hand this to you. See if you pay
Let me
attention.
hand this to you. That's right. You've stumbled around enough. Okay, I'm tired of it now. Here, have it.
Exactly. That's really exciting that you're getting into this, and you said your podcast is live now. So what's your podcast called?
So the podcast, it's not out yet. I'm still building episodes for it. It's called the Higher Power Podcast. So basically, I would like to talk to successful people and business owners who, I guess, who have been through that like reconnection of faith, where like for me, right? I didn't always believe in God recently. Like this is new for me, right? But it put all my personal development work from the past 7 years on steroids.
Wow.
Like, man, if I would have started with the Spirit, everything else would have been so much easier. I mean, yeah, I was just doing it the hard way.
I don't know how else
it is
worded.
Oh, dude, Carla, it is because it was like magic. Like, I mean, it basically is, right? Like, and it's funny because God's so willing to let you do it on your own if you want to. Doesn't interfere unless you ask.
Exactly. And I think that's amazing. And I'm excited for that to come out and, listen to it whenever it is live, send me the link and that way I can share it here as well. And let me ask you one other thing, because I don't think I actually shared this one with you, is what would be something that you would share with someone who wanted to be mentored by you? Like, what would be one small thing that you'd start them with?
Okay, the one small thing I would start them with is today, at the end of the day, sit down with a journal and set a timer for 5 minutes and ask yourself, was I honest in every single interaction today? And if I wasn't, which ones were they and why?
Oh, that's good.
Right? For me, everything good that's happened in my life in the last 2 years, in the last even 12 months, is on the other side of just being brutally honest.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't realize what they're lying to themselves about. So if you can start there, and you don't have to change anything. It's the beauty of it. You don't have to change anything. You just have to write it down and look at it. If you want to change something because you think something should change, great. If you think those lies were justified, great. We live in the world. We have to lie, but just look and be honest. That's all.
Oh, that's good. I haven't heard that before.
Nice.
It feels, it feels like that responsibility thing that we mentioned early on is like, be honest with yourself. And I think a big part of this is you have had to be honest about your
so much
identity, your journey, your either being in corporate or being in your entrepreneur self, being honest with yourself that maybe this is for you, right? This entrepreneurship space and like being honest there, because I think sometimes we want to go back to the safe thing. So yeah, that's actually that was so good. Like I'm gonna do that later today.
Let me know your experience with it.
I will.
I'm curious.
I will definitely let you know with that, because I've been wanting to get back to journaling, but I haven't like felt like the powerful thing to like go back into it. And right now it's like, oh, I gotta like tell myself, what have I been or not been honest about?
Yeah. Yeah, because it helps you with self-acceptance because we as a society, we demonize lying.
Yeah.
But there's things you need to lie about.
Yeah.
If your boss comes out and says, hey, if you have a job, right, and the boss comes out and says, hey, and asks you for your opinion on something, and politically you need to lie, you need to lie,
You're like,
right?
I'm gonna keep this one to myself.
Right. You're right.
I need to keep my job.
Exactly. And so if you're honest, you can say, no, I needed to keep my job. That's an okay lie. But what if you look in there and you look at those lie that you made to your spouse and you didn't even realize it?
Yeah.
Because you're unconscious. A lot of us are unconscious most of
Yep.
the time. We're doing something else, right? Like we're letting our other parts take control of things,
Yeah. And
right?
yeah, the
And it
unconscious, it's
happens.
about getting to know it too.
That's it. All you gotta do is know it.
Mm-hmm.
It can be your best friend and your best assistant in the world. But
Mm-hmm.
those other parts of you that you can't necessarily see, they need to be informed.
Yeah.
And in order to be informed, you got to tell them the truth.
Exactly. So that's so good.
Yeah.
You
Cool. I
gotta
like
like
that.
publish this into a book or something. I don't know.
I'll make a note of it. I literally, you asked me that, and that was the first thing that came to my mind. So
Yeah, like
it's probably
Carla
a
is the
message from
idea
God.
person. Like if you want ideas, tell me because I'll send you ideas. I got a lot of
Yeah, okay.
them.
You must have an open head center in human design.
I think so.
That
I'd have
sounds
to
like
show
the
you.
idea
I'd have to
person.
show you my little like drawing thing.
Yeah, the little chart thing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So now, like if someone wants to, because you work with entrepreneurs, right? So if someone
Yep.
wants to reach out to you, work with you, like how can they get in touch with you?
Yeah, so I have a very unique name. My name is Justin Weider. Literally, if you Google it, you'll
Uh-huh.
find me. But you can reach me on Facebook. You can also go to my website, which is kind of a long and complicated name, but it's riseandthriveretreats.co.
Cool.
I know that I work with entrepreneurs and we do retreats as kind of a celebratory thing,
That's
but
awesome.
really, yeah, it's about brotherhood and improving all the areas in your life, not just one. But the one that pays for all this
Mm-hmm.
is the automation and sales and
That's
marketing
so cool.
process.
And so is it's mainly focused for men?
Yeah, it's mainly focused for men. Yeah. Now,
Cool.
that was my old offer. Looking at this now, I might have space for females,
Mm-hmm.
especially because it's a more of a quarterly retreat thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so I might be able to have space for females. I hadn't thought about that until you just asked just now. With a
Ideas.
different offer.
Um,
Ideas. Yep.
so like I said, like, and I think it's great because honestly, like in this space of in the coaching world, I feel like this is just maybe like more personal observation, right? Is like I've
Mhm.
noticed there's so many of us coaches who are here for women, but then I wonder like where are the coaches for guys? I think that's a need, huge need that just from my observation again, you can take this or leave this, right? Guys don't ask for help,
Oh
or
no, very
you
lonely
don't
people.
talk about with your friends about your feelings, like
No, you don't.
so the
No.
fact that you are creating or that you have this space for men, I think is a powerful thing that is needed, and it's like we need more of it too, in my
I appreciate
opinion.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because yes, like yes, women, there's a lot of things that as women happens or doesn't happen, but then I just kind of stay wondering like men are humans too, like they have feelings.
Yeah.
You go through crap, too. You have your traumas too. Now, why don't we hear about it? Because y'all don't say anything, right? Because we as
Yeah.
women are
Yeah.
just the nurturers, emotional beings, right? We're open to that space, but men, from again my observation, is not as common. And I think it's great to be in the super masculine, right? And at the same time find a little bit of the other balance to, I don't know, help yourself, help each other. And maybe that world just needs more of Justin.
Well, hey, I hope so because I'm coming for them.
Yeah.
But that's really what I noticed, right? Like,
Hmm.
think about me, right? I had one, right? But he unfortunately, like, things didn't end well.
Hmm.
He helped me a lot though. Without him, I don't know what I would know about the
Yeah.
world, right? And I lucked into that because he happened to be my best friend's cousin, and he happened to take an interest in me and like me. I was lucky. It
Hmm.
wasn't anything that was engineered, but most guys don't have that. Most
Yeah.
guys, if they lose contact with their high school friends, the person they can be vulnerable with is their wife, and that's great.
Hmm.
What if they're not married?
Hmm.
You know, and other guys aren't taught how to handle that kind of emotional.
Hmm.
They're not taught how to validate someone's emotions. We go into that's why every like couples thing is like you see the guy going into problem solving mode
Yeah.
because guys are not taught how to handle emotions and
Yeah.
invalidate and just we don't know that that's enough until our wives teach us that it's enough just to say, wow, really? That sucks.
Mm-hmm.
I was a relief for me. I don't want to solve all these problems. I thought I had to.
Yeah.
Right? It's a relief that I can just say, wow, that sucks. And then it's all okay. But guys don't know. We're not taught that.
Yeah.
We're taught if someone brings you a problem, you solve it.
And let's be logical about this. Let's, what is the data behind this? Like, that's something I hear all the time from my husband. So
where's the data, right? Because without the data, we don't know what's real, right?
Like what
we
can
don't know
I
it's
solve?
enough to just say, man, that sucks.
Yeah. So again, make sure everyone to follow Justin, to go to the website. I'll put all the links in the show notes. I was looking at your Instagram right now. I was like, his Instagram, _Justin_Mark. If you want to go follow him there. Is it the same on Thrive? Now we gotta talk Thrive too, or not Thrive, Threads.
Threads. Yeah, it's the same on Threads.
Yeah, I'm thinking your website now.
Easy.
So go connect on Threads as well. Thank you so much, Justin, for being on. Super appreciate it. You got so many cool things to share. So many other episodes we can create from just this one. So yeah, I so appreciate you. So thank you so much.
For sure, appreciate you having me. Thank you.